Minnesota Vikings are 0-2. They're tied for the worst record in the NFL because so down there with the Jets and all the other horrible, atrocious, trash-ass teams in the NFL. Sure, it feels great. But I know it is in vogue to say, oh, tank for Trevor, tank for Trey, do this, do that. And I agree that the Vikings should begin shopping for their quarterback of the future. I'm a big draft a quarterback every single year advocate. And also, if you do, through happenstance, end up in the top 10, top 5, you do need to take that shot to try and draft the quarterback of the future, because ideally you're not going to be there often. Like, you're not going to go full Bengals or Lions on the bit and be you have a frequent flyer card for how many times a year in the top 10. Cool. And the Vikings do need to move heaven and earth to try and trade up for the quarterback of the future next year. But again, I say trade up, because Kirk, his contract gets very edible next offseason. The Vikings can move on after 2021, pretty much with no muss, no fuss. Set up an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes type dynamic, have the QB of the future sit behind Kirk and the cats and the cradle and the silver spoon, learn all of those things, and then year 2 take over, and then woo, win MVP and then Super Bowl MVP in 2022 and hoist at Jerome Barty, and then everything will be good, right? But again, we say trade up because screw all that losing on purpose noise. Like, if you lose on accident, you give it the old college try, fine. But actually trying to lose on purpose, no. Now, even though we are starting to get the impression that maybe Spielman was given the directive to field a team that was so bad, like talking about like Major League One, that plot where they're trying to field the team that's so bad so they can move the team to Miami, but that ain't going to happen. But, I mean, we've talked about before that it's almost impossible to tank. Like, unless people are absolutely in on it, which then, if that it actually is the case implicitly, they should be barred from the league. So ownership, the ownership would have to be in. The GM would have to feel the team bad enough. The coach would actually have to try and lose on purpose. And they can only do that if they have job security. Wait, it all makes sense now. Just kidding. But those assistant coaches and also those players playing on Sunday, like, obviously they want to put on good tape. Obviously they want to win. They're prideful. And also, like, if they're part of the tanking, like, there's no guarantee that they'll be back. And guess what? They'll be out of a job with some really bad tape out there, and good luck getting another job. So it ain't never going to happen, right? And also, like, if you're anti-Zim and anti-Spielman and you think that they're the problem, like, losing won't necessarily solve it, because the Vikings have harped continuity. And frankly, I think this team could go 0-16 and they both keep their jobs. I really do. And as crazy as that sounds, that is the power of having multi-year extensions that ownership would have to pay out, and owners generally don't like doing that. And also, if you fully remake this team, we're not talking about just like Zimmer. We're not just talking about Spielman. We're talking about probably most of the front office. New GMs like to bring in their own coaching staff, as well as like pro personnel people and executives. And then also, like, Zimmer, if he goes, like, if it's not just like a full-on Kubiak transition, they bring in a new head coach, the entire staff gets washed out. All right, so you have to pay out all those contracts as well. So this is like a multi-million-dollar hit if they actually do move on from Spielman and Zimmer, from giving them those massive extensions this offseason. So I don't see it happening. And also, it's too easy to say, well, we struggled this season because of the Rona, as well as because Daniil Hunter was tweaked up. And also, we're looking towards the future. We have a bunch of draft picks. We have a lot of young players all over the place. We let Stephon Diggs and Everson Griffin go. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, obviously, we're going to have a short-term step back to take a big step forward in the future. I get it. And also, you don't want to do this because losing is contagious. Like, it is a virus too soon. But if you infect a young locker room with no leadership and get them used to losing, now, it's like that trope, like, well, once a great white shark gets a taste of human flesh, it's all that it wants. Now, like, once a young team gets used to losing, all of a sudden it's like, here we go. I'm getting paid, so who cares, right? So 0-2, it's not a death sentence. And yes, there's a low percentage of teams who start out 0-2 and make the playoffs. I understand that. But this is also the first year with 7 playoff teams. Just get in the dance and see what happens. And Daniil Hunter will be back. He's going to get untweaked. And then Yannick Ngakoue is actually stepping up. So Daniil and Yannick bring the heat. And then the Vikings rookies will get more and more experience. Cameron Tiny Dancer will be back from the one rib. Jeff Gladney got a little baptism by fire, but there's a lot to like about his game. Justin Jefferson getting more and more experience every single day. Zimmer and Kubiak will get their heads out of their respective asses, and it'll be great. And also, the Vikings' final 7 games, they're either indoors or in Tampa. And yes, that does benefit the Vikings, even though Zimmer talks about it's like, oh, we have this big bad team. No, you're like an indoor cat trying to be. Yeah, you're not a mountain lion. You're an indoor cat, son. Right. So the Vikings can still rally from this and do something this season. 0-2 with question marks is not 1-7, and Kirky just got abducted by aliens. Now, if this is the latter situation, okay, I'm in. Okay, I'm in for tank for Trevor and tank for Trey. But as of right now, no. In a couple weeks, should we revisit this topic? Yes. But right now, keep hope alive. Keep fighting. Because, I mean, what else are you going to do? They're the Minnesota fighting Vikings for a reason. They can pull out of this. And there's lots of hope for the season still. All right, so your thoughts. Don't tank for Trevor or Trey just yet. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, pull some in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.